was living here in Indiana when I joined the Army.
How did you happen to serve in this war?
Well, because it was a time during Vietnam, and my number was getting close to me being drafted, so I decided to enlist in the Army. And that way, to hopefully get into a field that I would more enjoy than uh, being an infantry man.
What were you doing before you were drafted or enlisted?
I was in retail sales management.
Did anyone else in your family serve in the military?
I've got a younger brother, Tom, that was in the National Guard for a while.
Can you tell me about adapting to military life, physical regimen, barracks, food, social life?
Well, let's see. I took basic training at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. That post they called Little Korea. And I went through basic training from November through February. I started November of 71 and ended up in February of 72. And it was right in the middle of winter, and I can remember all the cold days and stuff out marching and double timing and doing the exercise. And
How did you choose the branch of service you served in?
I always liked the Army.
What kind of training did you have?
Well, let's see. For basic training, it was getting to know how to use the equipment like the guns and stuff, and it was learning to about military courtesy and military justice. And,
Friendships formed?
yes, a lot of friends. A
Where
lot of them I'll never forget.
where did you serve?
Well, like I say, I took basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and then after that, I took AIT, which is known as Advanced Individual Training, at Fort Devens in Massachusetts. And I was there for about 6 months doing my AIT.
Action or duties away from the front line?
Yeah, I wasn't on the front line. I was, after AIT, I was sent overseas to Thailand, where I served a 1 year term there at the 7th Radio Research Field Station.
Friendships formed?
Yeah, a lot of friends formed overseas.
How did you stay in touch with those back home?
Normally by through the Mars station or the radio. I remember talking to them, and every time you would stop talking, you would have to say over. And then when they would respond at their end, they would have to say over.
What did you do for recreation, off-duty activities?
Well, let's see. During basic training, you couldn't do a whole lot because you were restricted to post. And after about the first 6 weeks or so, then you could go to the PX and do a little bit of shopping for necessities and stuff like that, and that was about it.
Were you still overseas when the war ended? Where were you?
No, I was in Thailand at the time that the end of the war started. I was in military intelligence, and I can recall intercepting a lot of the transmissions the day that the Nixon ordered the bombing of Haiphong Harbor there in North Vietnam.
How did you return home?
Let's see, I returned home by jet, and I flew from Thailand to Guam, and from Guam to Wake Island, from Wake Island to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii to California.
Reception by family or community?
Just my wife and my child.
How hard was it to return to
it was pretty hard at first. Like I say, the year I spent in Thailand, it was a totally new way of life. People were a lot more relaxed. They weren't in such a rush constantly. And then once I returned to this country, it was like everybody was in such a rush to get things done and to get from place A to place B. And it was just like a rat race all the time until I got used to it again.
Are you a member on any veterans organization?
No, for a while I was with the VFW and the American Legion, but here lately I just haven't been involved that much.
Any contact with fellow veterans?
Yeah, I've got one friend that I've kept in pretty close touch with. Of course, I haven't talked to him for a few years. His name was Kenneth Zuliger, and he's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
How has being in the military affected your life?
Well, it's changed it tremendously, I think, because like I say, I was in management before going into the service. Then after the service, I tried to get back into management again, and I did for a while. But I made a decision that after that, that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, so I gave that up, and then I went into industry, and I was fortunate enough to be able to take some schooling at Ivy Tech, and I got into some construction work, and I took some construction classes and so forth at Ivy Tech, and that has helped me in my present occupation. And I've been doing what I've been doing at Ford Meter Box now for about 30 years, and I enjoy every minute of it.
Do you have any lessons learned?
Well, yeah. Um, I've learned to appreciate what we've got here in the United States as compared to what other people in other parts of the world have.
Do you have to have, are you going to say anything before we go off? Do you have any more stories?
Well, let's see. All I know is I enjoyed the 3 years that I spent in the service. There's been lots of times I had wished after the fact that I'd made a career out of it. Um, yeah, I was married at the time, so it was kind of a hardship in that aspect for a while. Being married and then being transferred around and so forth. But yeah, I enjoyed the military. You know, it was quite a positive experience, and I think that it helped me to become who I am today.
Well, thank you for being here today.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me do this.